and armor-piercing shells, gas shells, and shells of poisonous and corrosive fluids followed each other in close succession. The surviving scientists of the planetoid, expert gunners and raymen all, destroyed many of the projectiles, but it was not humanly possible to frustrate them all, and the breach could not be forced shut against the all but irresistible force of Cleveland's opener. And with all his power, Roger could not shift his vessel's position in the grip of Triplanetary's tractors sufficiently to bring a projector to bear upon the supership along the now unprotected axis of that narrow but deadly tube. Thus it was that the end came soon. A warhead touched steel plating, and there ensued a world-racking explosion of atomic iron. Gaping wide, helpless, with all defenses down, other torpedoes entered the stricken hulk and completed its destruction even before they could be recalled. Explosive bombs literally tore the pirate vessel to fragments, while vials of pure corrosion dissolved her substance into dripping corruption and reeking gases, filled every cranny of the wreckage as its torn and dismembered fragments began their long plunge to the ground. The spaceship followed the pieces down, and Rodebush sent out an exploring ray. Resistance was such that it was necessary to use corrosive, and ship and contents were completely disintegrated, he dictated into his vessel's log some time later. While there were, of course, no remains recognizable as human, it is practically certain that Roger and his last 11 men died. "Look here, Fred." Cleveland called his attention to the plate, upon which was pictured a horde of the peculiar inhabitants of the ghastly planet, wreaking their frenzied electrical wrath upon everything within the circle bared by Roger. "I was just going to suggest that we clean up that planetoid Roger started, but I see that the local boys are attending to it." "Just as well, perhaps. I would like to stay and study these people a little while, but we must get back on the trail of the Nevians." And the Boise leaped away into space, toward the line of flight of the amphibians. They reached that line, and along it they traveled at full normal blast. As they traveled, their detecting receivers and amplifiers were reaching out with their utmost power, ultra instruments capable of rendering audible any signal originating within many light-years of them upon any known frequency, and constantly at least 2 men were listening to those instruments with every sense concentrated in their ears. Listening, straining to distinguish in the deafening roar of background noise from the overdriven tubes any sign of voice or signal. Listening, while, millions upon untold millions of miles beyond even the prodigious reach of those ultra instruments, 3 human beings, pitted against overwhelming odds, were even then sending out into empty space an almost hopeless appeal for the aid so desperately needed. End of chapter.